Welcome to Dark Hotline, Real Horror Radio. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. If you're home, maybe lock your doors. Every night, people call in to tell us things they swear are true, stories that don't quite fit into the light of day. Here's our first call tonight. Let's hear it.
I don't usually call these things, but I need to tell someone. I need someone to tell me I'm losing my mind. God, I hope I am. Look, a few weeks ago I went camping. Alone, up in the Berkshires. I'm a day trader, I stare at screens 12 hours a day, gambling basically, and the stress was eating me alive. And my girlfriend Jessica, she'd been talking about moving in together, getting serious, and every time she said forever my chest tightened. Felt like being buried alive. So I told her I needed a weekend alone to clear my head. I picked this spot off the main trails where hardly anyone goes. Just me, my tent, silence. No phone signal, no markets, no noise. First day was perfect. I hiked, cooked beans over a fire, felt like myself again. Then that night, around sunset, she showed up. Just walked into my campsite like it was the most natural thing in the world. Mid-20s, dark hair, jeans, and flannel shirt. Pretty in a plain kind of way. Said her name was Silva. Her car broke down on the access road about a mile back. No cell signal. Could she share my fire while she figured out what to do? I know you're not supposed to trust strangers in the woods, but it was getting cold and she seemed genuinely stressed. Plus, I'll be honest, I was lonely. We talked for hours. She was funny, easy to be around. Said she was a teacher from Albany, just needed a break from life. One thing led to another. I'm not proud of it. I had Jessica waiting for me back home. But I told myself we were two adults in the middle of nowhere and it didn't mean anything. It felt good to be seen, to connect without the weight of expectations, even if it was wrong. In the morning, she was gone. No note, no goodbye. But the fire was still warm, coffee mug half full, like she'd just stepped away. I told myself she wanted to skip the awkward morning after thing. Packed up, drove home that afternoon, kept repeating the same line, what happened out there stays out there. If Jessica never knew, it wouldn't hurt her. When I got home, there was a note on the fridge. Jessica was helping organize a baby shower for her best friend, first baby in their group, so she'd be busy planning for the next week or so. Wouldn't have much time for me. I felt relieved. I didn't have to face her while I was still thinking about Silva. I felt sick about being relieved, but I was relieved all the same. That's when things got weird. 2 days later, I saw her, Silva, at the grocery store near my apartment. Same dark hair, same flannel shirt, standing perfectly still in front of the apples like she'd forgotten what people do in public. I almost went over to say hi, but something in me said not to. So I left. Next day, she was outside my building. Across the street, leaning against a telephone pole. When I looked right at her, she didn't react. Didn't wave, didn't look away. Just watched me with this blank expression. I told myself it was a coincidence. Maybe she lived nearby. But Albany is 2 hours away. What were the odds? Then I started seeing her everywhere. Coffee shop where I usually go. Outside the gym. Along my jogging route. Always at a distance. Always watching. Never approaching. By the end of that week I'd had enough. Walked straight toward her outside the coffee shop, ready to demand answers. When I got close, she smiled. Not a normal smile. Too wide. Too many teeth. She said hi. Her voice sounded different than I remembered. Flatter. I asked why she was following me. She said, I'm not following you. I'm with you now. I asked what that meant. She tilted her head like a confused child and said, You invited me. Remember? In the woods? You said I could stay. I backed away. She didn't follow, just kept smiling like she knew something I didn't. Next day, I went to the police. Gave them my statement. Showed them photos I'd taken, her outside my building, at the grocery store, on my street. The officer studied them for a long time. Then he said, "Sir, there's no one in these photos." I grabbed the phone from his hand. He was wrong. He had to be. But when I looked, empty, sidewalks, storefronts, nothing else. Just blank spaces where she'd been standing. He suggested I talk to someone. A therapist. He was polite, too polite, the kind of tone people use around the unstable. By then, Jessica was back. Started texting again. How was I doing? Did I want to get together? She missed me. I ignored the first few. When she finally called, I pretended everything was fine, told her I'd been buried in work. She believed me. She always did. Truth was, I hadn't made a single trade since I got back. Couldn't concentrate. The markets moved and I just stared at the numbers like they were in a foreign language. I asked her out to dinner. She sounded relieved. When she saw me at the restaurant, her face fell. "What happened to you? You look like you've been stealing jewelry from the Louvre." She tried to make it a joke, but her voice cracked. I forced a laugh. Said it was just stress from some bad trades. Asked about the baby shower, and she lit up, telling me all these stories. For a few minutes, her voice made everything feel almost normal, until we stepped outside. Silva was there, standing by the door of the shop next to the restaurant, smiling that same too wide smile. Something in me snapped. All the fear, all the confusion burned into anger. I rushed at her shouting, "Stay away from me! Stay away from Jessica! Stay away from us!" She didn't react. Just turned and walked around the corner. Gone. I turned back to Jessica. She was frozen on the sidewalk, pale, staring. That's when I realized how stupid I'd been. Now I had to explain Silva. I scrambled. Said she was a former colleague. We had a dispute before I went solo. It was lame. I'd been working on my own for over 3 years, but it was the best I could come up with. Jessica stared at me for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was quiet. "Are you okay? There's no one there." That was 5 days ago. Since then, Jessica's been pushing me to see a therapist. First it was gentle, maybe talking to someone would help with the stress. Then she started sending me links, names, numbers, office hours. I told her I wasn't crazy. Then I stopped responding. Yesterday she showed up at my apartment with this determined look. Said she was worried, couldn't just stand by and watch me fall apart. I lost it. Told her she didn't understand that something was really happening to me. She said that's exactly what people say when they need help. We yelled until I told her to leave. We haven't spoken since. Part of me wants to tell her everything. Another part knows how I must look to her if I do. She wasn't there. She didn't see Silva's face. She wouldn't believe it. And maybe that's better. Maybe I should just end things with Jessica. I don't want to drag her into whatever trouble I've made for myself. She deserves better than me losing my mind, or worse, better than whatever Silva actually is. She's getting closer now. This morning she was in my building's lobby. This afternoon in the hallway outside my apartment. I looked through the peephole for 20 minutes. She never moved. Never knocked. Just stood there. An hour ago I heard breathing on the other side of my door. I haven't opened it. I didn't look through the peephole. I was afraid of seeing an eye there. But I turned off the light and I can see the shadow coming in from under the door. 2 feet, standing perfectly still. Here's the thing I can't stop thinking about. What did she mean when she said I let her in? I keep going back to that night in the woods. The way she appeared out of nowhere. The way I never heard a car, never saw any broken down vehicle when I drove out the next day. The way her hands were so cold when she touched me even though we were next to the fire. The way she knew my address even though I never told her where I lived. I rarely go out now. Order everything for delivery. I don't want to see her out there standing on some street corner watching. I keep my curtains closed. The apartment is dark most of the time, but I can hear her breathing outside my door. Louder and louder. I think she's waiting for me to invite her in again. I think that's the rule. I think that's how this works. I turned the TV up loud to cover the sound. Worked for 2 days, but her breathing keeps getting louder. Even the TV can't drown it out anymore. My neighbor knocked yesterday, asked me to keep it down. I didn't answer. I keep thinking maybe I should just let her in. The thought is getting stronger. I tried to resist it, but I don't know how long I can. I'm calling you because someone needs to know. If anyone's listening, please believe me. Don't go camping alone. Don't talk to strangers who appear out of nowhere. Don't let your loneliness make you stupid. And if a woman named Silva ever asks to share your fire, say no. The door handle just started turning. I never locked it. Why didn't I?
Hello? Are you there? We're gonna take a break. We tried calling the number back. It just rang once, then went dead. If anyone knows who that was, if you recognize, please check on them, and we'll try to follow up on this call as well. But sometimes the silence after a call is louder than anything you could play on air. This is Dark Hotline, Real Horror Radio. If you're listening right now, maybe check your locks, maybe close your curtains. And if someone knocks asking to come in, don't. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights low, and your eyes open.